Good evening. P-3 has been a topic of heated discussion ever since the second Prime Sanctum got added. So, as a way to contribute my ideas to the pool, I've made a video detailing my theories about it, which you can watch right here. And boy, did people have a lot to say about it. You guys posted a lot of your theories, so I collected the most popular ones, and in today's video I'll be ranking them and giving my opinion on them. Please keep in mind that these are my own deductions of how these theories would work and are thus very subjective. But let's begin. The first theory I had in the comments was Jesus Prime being the third soul. First off, go watch my video about this, and second, Jesus and really any other biblical figures out there would not make very good candidates for P3, in my opinion at least. I mean, let's look at the previous two Prime Souls. They were both Greek kings, had a lot of people believe in them, both did something that heaven deemed heretic, got killed, and their will and soul were simply strong enough to manifest without a body. Now, Jesus would probably only cover one of these criteria, maybe two, and that's if we're deciding how probable he is based on the patterns we got with the previous two Prime Souls. Even if Hekita does decide to pull something out of his ass and somehow break this pattern and make it work in the story, which by the way I'm pretty sure he could pull off well, I believe there is really no reason for Jesus, the Son of God, to be banished to hell, let alone be locked in a flesh prison. What crimes could this fella have committed that was heretic? He was just a really nice dude in real life, so I don't see his place in hell to be justified. Well, maybe the council could have done something to prevent him from being the righteous ruler of heaven and thus secure their iron grip on power. But that just seems like kind of a kick-a-puppy move to make the council even more unlikable. Yeah, as you could probably tell, I don't really like this theory because of it just not fitting into the sentiment of Ultrakill's plot whatsoever. That, in my opinion, puts it just above the no tier as doesn't really work, but okay. Next up is Aas Prime. Now this one I actually see being added, and for some good reasons. First of all, he would be a near perfect fit for the guy responsible for making the Minotaur. I also made a video about that, so be sure to give it a watch. This would mean that he had pretty close ties to King Minos, if we're looking at the ancient Greek mythos of him and King Aegeus. Some people have also speculated that he could be the unnamed king of violence, having a lot to do with the labyrinth as in the myth. As a Prime Soul, I'm not really sure what he could have done to get the punishment he received, but it would sure as hell make a lot more sense than the previous theory. Because of this, I would put him in the makes sense tier. Next, Adam and Eve Prime. Much like Jesus or Judas, I'm not a big fan of biblical characters being Prime Souls since it really breaks the pattern we had for the past fights. The only real redeeming qualities they would have is them being the first humans on Earth who could have perpetrated the idea of free will within the layers of hell, which could have led to them being punished for it and thus becoming a twin Prime Soul. Lore aside, I think an Ornstein and Smo style fight would absolutely kick ass. Just for that, they get the tier. Now, a very popular theory I've seen was Nimrod Prime. This is another theory I'm actually fond of, one reason being that he was a very influential reader in the Bible, as well as being featured in Dante's Inferno, on which the game is based. Similar to Prometheus, who is in another video I made, he could have given some forbidden knowledge like disclosing Hell's location for humanity to exploit, which could in turn land him in a flesh prison after being foiled by the council. I'm not really sure if 7-S's Library of Babel could also be a nod towards him being canon, as Nimrod did build the Tower of Babel in the biblical story. This could also just be a reference to the website Library of Babel. Anyways, Nimrod gets a kind of probable from me. Everything would make sense except for the fact that he isn't a Greek king, as far as I'm concerned. By far the most popular theory apart from God or Jesus was Dataless Prime. This is probably my second favorite theory after Prometheus. Not only does he have ties not only to Minos, but also the Minotaur and the Labyrinth, but also probably to the story of Ultrakill itself. I'd imagine his origin story to be similar to that of his mythological counterpart. After Minos received the cruel gift of the Minotaur from whoever, he commissioned Dataless to build the labyrinth in violence so that it could not escape. I think the Minotaur's creator, who I think is hell itself by the way, you can watch my video about that for a more in-detail theory, caught up to this and left Dataless stranded in his own creation, quite similar to what happened in the myth as well. This would also explain why the sinners inside the labyrinth are aware of the trapped archive as we know from the book. Since Dataless built it, he would surely give this information to others in attempts to help them. I'm not really sure if he would have done something to upset heaven, so I think his death would be caused through natural means, either simply starving out in the labyrinth or getting killed by a demon or machine. Hell could have also warped the labyrinth ever since Dataless built it, so his knowledge of the maze could have been just obsolete, leaving him to succumb inside of it. Since he could have had a sizable following of husks, his will and perseverance to exit the labyrinth could give his soul the ability to go prime, which then could have been caged by the council for simply being deemed too dangerous. Apart from the fact that this interpretation of Dataless' role in the story would have kind of little connection to what has happened before, especially to the Council, I'd give him a rating of probable. Brutus, Cassius, and Judas. Again, these kinds of theories are kind of a double-edged sword. They wouldn't really fit into the theme of the story, with them not being Greek kings, etc. On the other hand, they would fit perfectly thematically, especially inside of fraud or treachery. I can already see Lucifer as being an actual character within Ultrakill, his husk at least, which could serve as the prison for their souls. Like in the Divine Comedy, he would be torturing them, or at least keeping them captive in a layer of treachery. Okay, last time I promised, but I also have a video about that. After the Husk of Lucifer dies, a triple Prime boss fight would be absolutely amazing, with us fighting all three all together or in a boss rush kind of level. Apart from a few caveats, I could see this trio being the third Primes. Second best tier. There were also some theories of something like God or Hell itself being the Prime Soul, which I'm gonna dismiss in just one bullet point. In my opinion, they just wouldn't make good Prime bosses, both lore and gameplay wise, simply because of the fact that they're a bit too much. How exactly is Hakita going to fit the entire concept of Hell inside a single boss fight? Or God at that point? And how would V1 fare against something even God can't undo? I know it would be some insane power scaling, but this is just a bit too much, I think. No tier. I've also seen a theory of V2 or possibly V3 being a Prime Soul, but the easiest counter for this is that they are machines that don't have souls and can be formed into Prime Souls. Also, reconstruct what? Again, no tier. Big thanks to everyone who submitted their theories in the comments of my previous videos. I had a blast reading through them, so this video was really fun to make. Be sure to comment down below what you like to see in Ultrakill. I'd really want to read more. And as always, this was Cold Brew, hope you enjoyed. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and I'll see you guys around. Ciao!